I thought I'd see what all the fuss was about regarding Lenovo ThinkPad laptops. So, in here we should find something that will help me work out whether I like them or not. Everybody seems to go on about them. There's numerous videos about them online, how they're perfect for typing, they're the perfect laptop. You can't get a better laptop than a Lenovo ThinkPad. And so, yeah, managed to find this on eBay. It was quite cheap. In fact, it was on offer. It was reduced to £38.49 with postage. Comes with the power adapter and a laptop bag. And here we are, the Lenovo ThinkPad. Windows sticker there. It's got an optical drive. It's got a missing foot on that corner, that's a shame. It's got VGA out, display port, USB, and more USB connections there. How many have we got in total? 4 USB connections, that's pretty good. Power at the back and Ethernet. And you're waiting to find out what the model number is. It's an L440. Intel Core i5, this is 4th gen. There's quite a lot of travel in this keyboard. Maybe that is why people rate these laptops for the keyboard. Let's see if it switches on. It might still have some battery in it. And it does. I mean, it was sold as working, so I'm expecting it to work. But I didn't know whether it'd still have battery life in it. It's got a sort of textured finish. Does it have the light? Yep, there's a little light here that lights up from the screen. And there we are. What version of Windows is this? Is this Windows 10, isn't it? Yeah, it's just the latest version, so it's got the annoying Copilot that I don't want, but it's also got the more colourful backgrounds. And there's the processor, Intel Core i5 4200M, which is dual core with 4 threads. It's got 8 GB of memory. It's got a 250 GB SSD, which looks like it's crucial. MX500 and Intel HD graphics 4600. So specifications wise, this is really quite nice. We've got 8 GB of RAM. We've got a 250 GB SSD, and we've got the 2 cores 4 threads processor. Let's move this box out of the way and let's have a look at the battery life. So 3 hours 42 remaining. That's also quite nice. So I've got a choice of the little nipple here or joystick, and these buttons at the top that I can use for clicking and dragging, or I can use the trackpad. And this whole thing moves. Quite interesting, but it's quite large as well. It certainly looks nice. It looks like a solid laptop, but I think it's kind of the keyboard that is why a lot of people rate ThinkPad laptops. So let's just try some typing. I'll try and turn up the brightness. Oh, is that as bright as it goes? Maybe it gets brighter if I plug the power in. So I'm going to do that. Not sure if that's brighter or if it's just the same, but let's try typing something. case you can't see that because it's quite a long way away. This is old PC gunk and stuff on YouTube. It seems quite nice to type on. Actually, I think this is really quite nice to type on. There's a good amount of travel. And very quickly, I'm able to touch type. I can't type and talk at the same time, but yeah. It's got a nice sound to it as well. It's got a sort of, I don't know. Would this noise be annoying though if you're in a cafe typing away? I've managed to hit the caps lock a few times. I'm looking for the light. There doesn't seem to be a light for the caps lock. In fact, are there any keyboard lights? Not sure. So that's brightness, volume. I don't think there's any backlit keyboard on this, which is a shame. The Lenovo ThinkPad series of laptops kind of can be quite confusing. I'm still working it all out, but I think the T series is a higher level than the L series. But I don't mind that too much, especially considering the price I paid for this laptop. £38 with the power adapter, including postage, is crazy cheap for a laptop of this quality and specification. We've got a 1366-768 screen, not the best in the world, but still perfectly acceptable. And this all appears to work quite nicely. I'll connect to the internet and see how we get on. I've connected to the Wi-Fi, and as you can see, it's decided to do some things, probably Windows updates. But we'll go on the internet and see how that performs. Willis has come to have a look as well. And of course, we're going to try YouTube first. Reject all cookies where possible. Let's have a look. Skip the advert if you want. And let's have a look if we've got handception. We've got Willisception. How many is that? 3. And the hands. And let's bring up stats. I guess we can't really test full HD on this because it doesn't do full HD on the screen, but we can select the resolution and see how performance is. Actually seems to be going really smoothly, no dropped frames. And yeah, that just was smooth, easy, worked well. So let's have a look at WebGL Aquarium. And see what we get from this. That was quite quick. Getting 60 frames per second. Yep, that's a solid 60 frames per second. Let's see if we go to 100 and see if Willis reacts. 1,000, 5,000, there's some slowdown. The fan on this has kicked in. I'm not sure if you can hear that, but it's not too noisy. And it's got a bit quieter now. So let's see how many tabs we can get open. I can't see this being a problem really, considering we've got 8 GB of RAM. We've got a 4th gen i5 processor, and our internet connection seems pretty quick as well. Yeah, the performance of this is pretty good. I'm not, going to the pages and having to wait for things to appear or load. Scrolling is smooth and responsive. And let's have a look at this. I'm using Bing, which is always going to be not as well. It's not giving me the results I'm looking for. And here we are. This is what I'm looking for. Give it a little bit to sort of load the page. Yeah, this is running fine. This is running really nicely. And we've got about 10 tabs open. No doubt Windows Update are probably doing some stuff. We're only using 3.7 GB of memory. And it's sort of calming down now. Okay, I've got about 17 tabs open. I've installed Crystal Disk Mark. Gone for retro accidentally. Wonder if I can go for a different one. Okay. Disk Mark CPU. This is definitely different to what I usually use. I've also got CPU Z and core temp, so we can see what temperatures we're getting from this processor and have a quick look at what the system is set up as in terms of the memory configuration. It's DDR3 dual channel, so there should be 2 slots, each with 4 GB in. It's both Samsung. Graphics we know about. And then we could bench the CPU as well if we want to. It's getting 730 for multi-thread. And 245 for single thread. And then I've also got Crystal Disk Info, which tells me that the drive is 86% good with power on hours of 3061. How have I downloaded Crystal Mark Retro when I actually want Crystal Disk Mark? Okay, we've got Crystal Disk Mark. We can all sigh. While this is running, I may as well sort of talk a little bit more about this Lenovo laptop. It's kind of the first Lenovo ThinkPad I've had. I've had a ThinkBook previously, but I wasn't that impressed with it. It did have some problems. Whereas this seems like a different kind of breed of laptop. I feel like the ThinkBooks are built to kind of reach a price point, and you know, maybe ThinkPads they spend a little bit more money on to make a better product. I also feel that the 4th gen Intels are kind of a sweet spot in terms of performance and upgrade options. You've got DDR3, which means that, you know, 16 gigs of RAM in this should be possible. On desktops, 32 gigs of RAM with 4 slots should be possible. And, you know, the memory's quite cheap. And, you know, the performance of 4th gen Intel seems really snappy, you know. As I've been using this, it's been quick and responsive. We've also got the SSD drive, and we're getting, you know, the speeds expected from SATA 3. And, you know, some systems will have mSATA, and again, speeds similar to this. But for general use, for my purposes, this is quick enough. You can see the sort of read and write speeds are good. And yeah, there's nothing to worry about here with this system. Everything looks to be running really nicely. When the fan stops on this, it is really, really quiet. There are other PCs in the room that are on. This is on, very quiet. There's another PC under the desk that's louder than this system. But yeah, this is looking really nice, and I can see why people like these laptops. It's quite a lot of choice, and the fact that, you know, there are so many different versions, people will possibly be looking for the P and the T series or the X series rather than the L440. So, you know, if there's so much choice and people think they need a specific version, then it can make some of these really cheap. And at the moment, eBay prices seem to be quite low, especially for auctions. So yeah, I was surprised how cheap this was. This was from a business seller as well, offering a discount. Auctions, they seem to go quite cheaply as well. I think people are kind of, I don't know, losing faith in eBay basically. They've made a lot of changes recently that are kind of annoying for the buyer and also annoying for the seller. I've got things on there and you set a price and you think you're offering something cheaper than other sellers, but then when eBay adds protection, buyer protection, your selling price is higher than other people. So you keep having to reduce the price just to compete with other sellers. And it's good for people wanting to buy things, but it's not good for sellers. Yeah, anyway, that's a sort of side tangent, really. So this is working really well. Let's have a look inside. Oh, I forgot to save my Word document. So I should be able to flip this over, and we've got a cover here with 4 screws. Hopefully, I don't know if there's anything under here that looks like there might be under these little feet. And then we've got a battery as well. It just slides out. It's a Lenovo battery. And let me get a screwdriver. So I'm just going to undo all of these screws and we'll have a look. Okay, so we don't actually have anything under here, and we've just got 4 screws that let us take this access panel off. And then that's the whole PC. That is really nice. We've got the drive, got a Wi-Fi card. We've got access to the CMOS battery. We've got access to the memory. We've got access to the processor and fan. You can actually remove this if you wanted to, clean that, reapply thermal paste. And I'm guessing it's a socketed processor, but this is really nice to see direct access to all of this without having to take the whole PC or whole laptop apart, without having to take this off. So since we're here, we may as well check the thermal paste. Not entirely sure how the... Oh, there we go. Again, that is really easy to take out. And we have got wet thermal paste, so it looks like someone has reapplied thermal paste to this recently. And then there's a little security sort of, or rather hex screw there for removing the processor. So we can just leave that there for now. But if I do want to upgrade this, it looks like it would be quite easy to do. I've cleaned the thermal paste off. I'm going to put on some Noctua NTH1 thermal paste because why not? And that should be plenty. I'm going to slide this back in. I think I might give this a brush actually. It's quite dusty. Think about maybe giving that a blow to get rid of some of the dust as well. But we'll just put this back on. Give it a little bit of a squish. Where was this cable? Yeah, that looks like that's spread quite nicely and should spread some more when pushed down. Was this cable under here? Just going to cover this up while I deal with some of this dust. It actually looks like a really nicely designed heatsink system. It's got a vent here as well as here. And yeah, this is just nice, easy. Just put this back on. We've got 4 screws to tighten and put the battery back in, and we're back up and running. And there are 8th gen Lenovo laptops, so they would be a good choice if you're looking to run Windows 11. This should take Windows 11 with the Rufus option, but for now this is a nice little Windows 10 laptop, and I can see why people like these laptops. It's definitely much better than, you know, the cheaper end of the spectrum in terms of laptops available. This is just, you know, just works. Nice keyboard. Option of, you know, the trackpad or this little mouse thing. And yeah, can't complain at all really. Except it should have booted into Windows by now. I don't know what it's doing. Let's just wait and see what happens. I've restarted this so we can see how much power it's using. And it's using about 36 watts at the moment. Up to about 45 watts. This may have been why we were having problems starting up previously. Helpful Microsoft backup, trying to get us to set up a backup for this system. But yeah, let me know what you think of this Lenovo ThinkPad laptop. This is the L440. What's your favorite ThinkPad laptop? And when did they get worse? When did they get better? There's certainly a lot of options out there. And if you can help explain the differences between the P, the L, the X, the E, feel free. That'll be helpful for my knowledge and for other people. Thanks for watching, and see you in another video.